AKAPADers, what is happening? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, this is where we don't like slabs, we don't like slabbers, we don't like investment channels. And I'm going to bring you a nice little hot take. But hey, in the meantime, subscribe, support, leave a comment, give me a thumbs up. We got to fight that YouTube algorithm. Guys, Comic Tom 101, Gentlemen Collectibles. They're not melting down. They're not taking a hard position. They are just being simps, being cucks, being like that. Those cheerleaders for CGC or grading comics in general. Imagine dedicating years of your life at this point in tracking CGC 9.8 sales, and then you convince a whole audience, for lack of a better term, a generation of collectors to pursue the CGC 9.8. And what this does, you get these guys, they buy everything on eBay, they go everything, local comic shops, local conventions, and they buy up a entire run of books, meaning, Super Mario Valiant Comics is spiking because of the movie. These guys buy it all up, and it's not, I'm not saying Comic Tom 101 and Gentlemen Collectibles specifically are buying those up, but there's people that track this stuff and they scoop it up, and then here we go, they mail everything into CGC, they get those 9.8s, and then magically what used to be $1 book now becomes $1,000 book. And there's like this audience now that tracks this, that tries to kind of jump in, not when it's super hot, but right when, it's still warm, so you can still get in on it, so you're going to make a little bit less money than the guys that bought that book for $1. And, these are the hopes and dreams, and we're in this culture now of collecting where, and it's all promoted by these guys. But it's, you get a box of comics, you spend a few $1,000s grading your books, and they do these grade reveals, and it's like, oh, I got a 9.6 on this, I thought it was going to be a 9.3, like it matters and like it means anything, because it never really did. And I know a lot of the AKAPADers, a lot of you out there, you guys are with me, this grading means nothing. And if CGC is going to move the needle and start pinpointing 9.9 graded books, that means they're going to start pinpointing 10.0 graded books. At one point, the 9.8 was meant as, it was a few imperfections as possible. And these guys, they just walk the line. They're towing the cables. They're not taking a stand. They're not being courageous. They're not really individuals of conviction. What they're trying to do is sell you something. I think Comic Tom 101 does comic book packs, and Jim Mint does like whatever the heck he does. But these guys are the real problem when it comes to comic book collecting, because comic book collecting should cross over with comic book reading. And sometimes you need to shell money out for a key, and if you need to read that key enough, right, you get the reprint, you get a hardback, you get a trade paperback, whatever, facsimile edition, whatever is available. If you need to read that material, and if you read that material, knowing that material is far greater. Knowledge is power. Knowing the material is far greater than owning the the key issue, the original key issue. If you want to read Marvel Comics, Transformers and Transformers Marvel Comics, the originals are spiking, and maybe it's like the trade paperbacks are going up, and we get interest, which is a great thing. But at the end of the day, who cares if something is great if you don't know the material? And we see that on the show where their comic book opinions, their comic book insights, their knowledge of comic book history, it's lackluster, and it's somewhat frustrating for someone like me to watch this stuff, because they direct the attention and the money into taking books off the market, taking books away from readers, and then you get these giant individuals, these people with capital, and they scoop up all of your Transformers Marvel Comics #1s. They send them off to CGC hoping to get 9.8, and now they're hoping, everyone's hoping to get a 9.9. Here's the wild thing. CGC knows they can create a 11.0 graded category, and there's enough people, there's enough cash flow that would support that, because they have to have a level of confidence after earlier, right? Like earlier, as detailed on this channel, fraudulent activity when it comes to grading comics. It has been exposed. People know it's out there. People glossed it over because of what they have invested. That's already been compromised. There's no real solution for protecting a graded book, for being able to break through a slab and slipping over a lesser grade. And if we really want to go through a lot of these resubmissions, for some Spider-Man like 300 books where one single book was submitted 30 to 40 times. If that doesn't tell you enough that their process, their checks, their balances is corrupted, now they're moving the needle. They're directing your attention to a 9.9. They're directing your attention to a 10.0, and eventually they will direct your attention to a new grading class. Right here, right now, we're calling it the 11.0. It could be called something else. They could be calling it platinum, or who knows, right? Diamond. Call it the diamond. But it's hilarious. And these guys, they toe the line, and they do simp for this company, and they are a shell, and they're after not only your attention, but they want you to blow money on stuff that's meaningless. On this channel, it's always read the comic books first. Second, it's know what's inside the comic. And third is know what's around the comic book. That's your path. You know, like that's the way we do things here. Everything else is meaningless. The value of a comic book is meaningless, but knowing about the comic book is far greater, and I will never waver from that. All right, guys, I love you. Rock and roll.